What's up? It's me, ADRI.V The Go Getta, and I want to welcome you to the G Code podcast. You see, this is a place you go to get the pretty, the ugly, and the grind to success. There's always a story to be told, and everything that glitter ain't gold. So understand this, there is no need for the cheat code when you got the G Code. So get your notebooks and pens ready. It's time for us to get into it. Welcome to the G Code.
You are now listening to the G Code with ADRI.V.
Yo, what's up, my go-getters? Listen, baby, we back at it again, giving you the G Code podcast. I'm yours truly, ADRI.V The Go Getta, creative brainchild. And if you are new to this and true to this, I appreciate you for tapping in. Don't forget to follow us, like us on Facebook, Instagram, all the places at the G Code with ADRI.V. And you can always check out all things Go Getta at thegogetta.com, where the G Code podcast also lives. All right. Now, if you didn't see the big announcement, I am delighted, blessed, and happy to be officially a part of the Revolt Podcast Network. I'm going to do and commit a complete podcast about this journey of getting here. But until then, I'm just jumping right back in because it's work as usual as I'm bringing to you an interview that I did a minute ago that I am putting on a podcast because his story is so prolific. You know, he dropped heavy G codes, and this man is truly an amazing artist. You know, I'm talking about my guy, 38 Spesh. He's from Rochester, which is like right across the street from me. It's another home. And my guy has been holding it down and doing so much when it comes to chasing his dreams. So the last time we chopped it up, he had recently just dropped his new EP, 7 Shots, all right, and was getting so many nods from the likes of major artists and even athletes like NBA star Kevin Durant, who talked about him being like this type of special person, all right? Now, in addition to that, being able to have close ties with Roc Nation, because he's from the Rock, it's just a necessary connection. And in addition to that, linking up with my good people over in Buffalo, my friends, Benny the Butcher, they got a dope track with each other. And in addition to all of that, this man is truly someone who talks about the journey. And in this interview, he talks about having an ongoing internship and what that means. Now, when you grasp that concept, let me know once you get it, because you're going to have to tweet me, text me at 214-70-ADRI.V, or inbox me and say, you know what, I get that. Because I too feel like I have been in a long going internship. All right. Now, this interview, we go in depth, we go in detail, and I want you to lock in when it comes to somebody turning a dream into reality, really tapping into that grind, that grit, that hustle, and understanding, you know, there's no need for the cheat code when you got the G code. So right now, we're about to tap in with my guy, the one and only 38 Spesh, inside the G code. Welcome. What's good, my go-getters? It's me, ADRI.V The Go Getta, and listen, I am excited for this interview because, one, I cannot believe in all my years of knowing who this person is, who this artist is, and him working with so many individuals that I had a chance to interview, that this is indeed my first time actually interviewing him. And I'm excited because I got a lot of questions, because not only am I one person who enjoys his music, but also in addition a fan, because he comes from the same areas as I do, and really just working through the grind when there is not the shine in the cities like others. And so, ladies and gents, as I present to some and introduce to others, I'm talking about this man who definitely just dropped his new joint, 7 Shots, none other than, of course, 38 Spesh. What's good, Spesh?
What's going on? How you doing?
Listen, I'm good, and I'm happy we got a chance to have this dialogue and this conversation.
Right.
And so it's been a minute, and I'm going to really come from a place as, you know, because for myself, I get a chance to dive in and get a chance to know you from a bird's eye view of just watching, right? But I really want to dive in from a place of what fans and individuals who really love you and been following you for years, you know, wanting to ask from that perspective. And so when we think about 38 Spesh, I think about a gun. Okay, each and every time, right? And as someone who's now a gun connoisseur, it has become a go-to because ain't none of them bullets falling up out of that joint, you know? So let's talk about kicking off once you came into this industry and then choosing your name, or was that name given to you, 38 Spesh?
Well, it was a combination of things that made me come up with the name. But you know, 38 Spesh was my favorite gun. You know what I'm saying? And it's a gun that you got to take serious. And when you have it, you got to take it serious because you don't really got too many shots with that.
Right.
You gotta, with a gun that hold a lot of shots, you could be a little more careless. It's just like in life, when you got so many chances, you could be careless. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, it's 38 Spesh. You only got a certain amount of shots to really get the job done. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. And so when it comes to who you are as an artist, you're not careless about what you're spitting out. Your vocabulary, the vocal ability, your reach and your range. You're very strategic at how you flow in and out of a beat and get into a pocket. And that's what I enjoy most too when it comes to your music. So correlating with your name, coming up in Rochester, right? Born and raised, you're born and raised in Rochester?
Definitely.
Yes. And so coming up in an area similar to Buffalo, to where you don't get a chance to see what you want to be. Essentially, we're saying like an artist, right? Because the ability, and even in your most recent songs, you talk about manifestation. Being able to see it and being able to achieve it is one thing. But coming up in Rochester, what has that experience been like for you? And we talk about it being one of your favorite guns. According to your lyrics, and your stories that you share, you definitely may have y'all used it one or two times, and maybe more, who knows? But let's talk about, how growing up in this area has affected and played a huge part in how strategic you are when it comes to shooting your bullets of your lyrics.
Growing up in this area, built a lot of different characteristics that, contributed to my success as an artist and businessman. It built me to be resilient. You know what I'm saying? It built me to be, tough and patient. You know what I'm saying? Patience is very important. You know what I'm saying? Also, you have to have a high faith system. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing something that's never been done, you know what I'm saying? It seemed unachievable. So you got to really believe in yourself. You got to have a strong belief system in yourself. You know what I'm saying? And coming in these hard places where it's not that many resources, you know what I'm saying? It helps build those characteristics. It helps build the confidence, because as you make these different accomplishments, it helps just add more and more confidence, you know what I'm saying? And, the accomplishments in these small areas is more magnified than in places where they normalize that, you know what I'm saying? So these areas, when you just make a small accomplishment, you know what I'm saying, it helps so much because it's never been done. You know what I mean? As opposed to if I was in a city where it was normal and everybody was making it off rap and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? So, being in this place has helped in so many different ways, you know what I'm saying? Being here and being from it.
Absolutely. And being where you're from, you have been, I would say, a pioneer and a leader, an example to others of just what that hard work and strategicness look like, of just not giving up, right? And staying motivated. And so what were some things that, as an artist starting out in Rochester and deciding that this is what I want to do full time, this is how I want to go and get it, what were some things that you had to do to step outside of the realm of the regular upstate area and really deciding to get your name out there? Because your name just really started to ring bells a lot, in the mixtape game, heavy. And it's just like all the time it was 38 Spesh. And I'm just like, man, this man is really crazy going in. And when I would be in the Rochester radio, it's like back to back, your name was always ringing bells. So what was your method in your strategy of making sure that people became familiar with who you were, not just locally?
Well, it was a lot of trial and error at first. It wasn't no direct formula. The main thing was just to not give up, was just to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because you would try some things and they may not work out, but you still gaining and it might not be the gains that you want, but you have to go again. This game is about being able to keep going. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like, people put a lot into a project and think that one is gonna take off for them, you know, but you gotta set yourself up to keep going and keep going again. You know what I'm saying? And through me doing that, not just putting out one thing and hoping that, you know, actually just me being consistent, that's where the buzz came from. It was just one project, one fan at a time, you know, one brick at a time.
Okay. One fan, one break at a time. I like the correlation. So as we talk about one fan, one break at a time, you know, there's a couple tracks that I got a chance to tap in with you and Benny, right? And then even getting a chance to see you perform when you were just in Niagara Falls most recently. And your stage presence is definitely one of a seasoned veteran, because that's what you are. Now, how were you able to really begin to build up that stage presence, and how because as a rapper, it's not easy being up on that stage and making it's not, you know, and you really are engaging with the crowd, you rocking with the crowd. And when I just think about artists coming up and people who are fans and they're coming to the shows, I don't think they really understand what it takes to get up there and do what you do.
Yeah, first and foremost, like, first thing you got to study, like, people that great performers, you know. So shout out to, like, the great performers like Jay-Z, Busta Rhymes, you know what I'm saying, Red and Meth. You know, I studied great performers coming up, you know what I'm saying. And second off, you know, rehearsal is very important. Like, a lot of guys go up there and they just rap, but without rehearsing. Like, I really put time into my rehearsal, like with me and my DJ, or me and whoever's on stage, to make sure that, you know what I'm saying? So rehearsal, confidence comes from knowing. Mm-hmm. So if you keep rehearsing, it's gonna give you that confidence. And that's what actually helps me when I go on stage. It's a strong level of confidence of just knowing, you know what I'm saying? Because you done did it so many times. It's like, nah, I know what I'm about to do, you know?
So where did this confidence come from? Because in this industry and being an artist, you have to be confident in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You know, we talked about it, but where did your confidence come from?
Well, that's a good question. It came from a few things. It came from me showing myself what I could do. You know, it was like, wow, okay, I could do that, you know, because confidence is something that's, like, built. It didn't start off with me just being the most confident. You know, it was built through accomplishments, you know what I'm saying, through my own accomplishments. And, you know, I'm just a builder. So, you know, through me building and building throughout the years, it's just been building confidence on top of that, you know. So it really just comes from the work, me putting in the work and seeing the results of the work that's put in.
And so when you talk about building up the confidence and putting in the work throughout the years, like, exactly when did you start? Because I feel like you've been at it 2 decades. It's been a minute.
Yeah. I would say about two decades. I probably put my first mixtape out in 2003. And 2003, I remember 2003, me working with Green Lantern, coming in the game. Shout out to DJ Green Lantern.
Shout out to Green Lantern.
Yeah, so I remember that back. So it's been about 20 years, you know what I'm saying? I explain to a lot of people this, like, you know, those 20 years, like, well, the last few years, like the last 3 years, it's been a professional business. Like, it's been my professional business that actually take care of me. 17 years prior to that was my internship.
Can we talk about because I feel like I'm an intern connoisseur, okay? Internships built me. So let's talk about that. For 17 years, right? 17 out of the many years you said was an internship. Let's dive into that, because I think many people think once you get into something, especially in this game, it's supposed to be a quick turnaround. And unfortunately nowadays, because we are in the world of internet, streaming, and going viral and one-hit wonders,
well, it all determines what is people's certain level of success and what do you want.
There you go.
And that's all, like, personalized. Like, you know, so some people, if you want some quick money, you know, and some instant gratification, you know, it's certain routes that you could go and get that. That was never my route. You know what I'm saying? I wanted longevity. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be able to, you know, eat off this for as long as possible and to be taken very seriously. You know what I'm saying?
And so, and listen, because I'm really, you just made me 17 years, so I had to roll up in my little Rolodex of music and just start rolling through your multitudes of projects. Like, you have projects after projects, and I feel like you weren't missing no years. Why was this so important for you? Because you said for 17 years it was an internship. It don't look like no internship to me.
So the thing about it was like, when I say internship, it was because it was more passion and I wasn't making no money off it.
Talk about it.
So like, you know, I just was actually making the music and just putting it out to the people because I wanted them to hear how great I was. I didn't care about making money off it because I was finding other ways to actually take care of myself and make money. So my focus was never make money off of the music, it was get heard.
Do you think
with that...
No, sorry, go ahead.
With that, it took a while before I actually figured out how to capitalize off of it. And that's when it turned from being my internship to a business, you know?
I take that because, but the beautiful part is that you kicked off and you maintained the passion. Right. And then eventually that passion turned into the profit that you were looking for and that you're still striving for. Right. And I think that's also a lack in today's industry. You know, people are not truly passionate about something. Like you said, I was putting it out because I wanted people to hear how great I was.
Right.
That's a different level of confidence.
Right. Yeah. Like, that was it. I just wanted, that was it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I went through a lot of discouraging segments in my life doing that, just putting out music and not making no money off it, But I kept believing that one day it would make sense. And now I'm at that point where it makes sense. That's just, you know, I just say that for the people that think about giving up because they ain't figured it out yet, but they still got that passion. I just say, you know, you got to just keep believing in yourself and being passionate and being the best at what you're doing. And as long as you're the best at what you're doing, you know, you're going to succeed.
I love it. I feel like the internship piece, you gotta do a whole album called Internship, or a mixtape with a mixture of different different of your songs throughout that time, because, you know, as I look at it, like, I know exactly what that grind is when you're interning, right? And like you said, you know, you were able to transition the passion into profit. But when I look at your projects, you know, it looks more of the transition, you know, from being someone who was just trying to see how this is going to happen, but really making it happen. And so as we dive into, you know, your new project, you just dropped 7 shots. Of course, that was a build up to 7 shots because you have 5 shots. What is it about this level of shots? Is it still has to correlate with, of course, your favorite? Yeah, I'm tracking.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was, like 5 shots, 6 shots, 7 shots. You know, 7 is a lucky number, and like those shots is chances. I mean, you only get so many chances, and you know, this is my 7th shot right here. You know what I'm saying? And this is the one that actually start to wake the people up.
Now let's talk about waking the people up, okay? Because there's a track on there. Hold on, I gotta get to it. Dang, I forgot to plug it in because I was gonna play it on here. Can't Show Love Part 2.
I love that record.
What? You love the record? I love the record. When you talking about health is wealth and you telling the people to pay attention to what they putting in their body, manifestation, like you going in, and I'm sitting here like, I probably played that one the most, back to back to back to back.
I played it before this interview like 2 times, just sitting outside smoking, playing it. It's a vibe. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe because it really speaks to the person, right? I feel like, I don't know about you, but as someone who has to hear music on a regular basis, once I get a track that really speaks to me in my current place, now I'm locked in, right? It's like you're giving a lesson. Tell me, what were you in the booth? What were you thinking about when you started getting into that particular song?
Yo, I make music like that when I'm not just like focused on like being so extra lyrical. I call that kind of music pain, where it just helped me reflect. And that completely is based off energy. So it's based off complete energy. It's about like, how does this make me feel? Instead of me writing something where I'm like, oh, I want to be slick, I completely base it on, how does this make me feel? When I say this, how does this actually make me feel?
Yeah.
How does it make a person feel when they hear it? Is it gonna motivate them? Is it gonna help them get through something? And I aim for that. And those is the places where I pull from, when I make those kind of records, you know what I mean? And that right there, that's why, I love that record so much. You know what I'm saying? I love that record.
Listen, I love it too. We have this love in common for this track because like I said, I played it back to back. I can relate. And what I love most is that you're giving people lessons. You're encouraging them to go beyond what you like. Nobody want to see nobody looking sloppy out here. This ain't
right. You can't be on top looking all sloppy.
It's terrible.
You better watch what you put in your body.
Yo, and for me, it's just like after us coming off COVID, and then even the sloppy aspect of, as a people, we have to present well, regardless of what individuals think. I'm gonna just show up as me. Yeah, but everybody are not gonna receive you. But also in this industry, if you think you about to stand up there and put on a full album and perform, not paying attention to what you put in your body, because if you don't got the stamina, how are you going to sit here and go city to city, stage to stage, going through your catalog and thinking you about to, make this happen? I love every bit of that particular track.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. But what you said into that is that you were reflecting on pain, right? Mm-hmm. But that one didn't give me the pain, but the other one, okay, painful.
Definitely.
It gave me pain. The other one gave me peace, but I get how you could reflect on pain
like
to give me peace.
I like that.
Like that?
I like that. I love that because it gave me peace as well. That was a good definition of that.
Mm-hmm, it did. But I think, like you said, it reflects off the fact that you had, it came from pain. But
it came from pain. It make you appreciate the peace that you at. You know what I'm saying?
Because the pain helped you get there.
Right.
Yes, that's it. And so painful, okay? I had a chance when Beanie Single was here. I've always been a State Property fan, right? A fan of these people. When Beans was here, watching him craft. Freeway has always been a fan. And I mean, I've been a fan of, and I'm also a fan of your artist, Shay Noor, okay? That is my girl. She is a monster. A monster. And, before we even talk about this song, how did you connect up and link up with Shay and bring her a part of your team?
Yo, man, Shay reached out to me.
She's a true go-getter. That makes sense.
Reached out to me and was like, yo, I've been a fan of you for a while and I wanted to send you this record. I was a little nervous. My friend said send it. So I just said, forget it and sent it. And I'm like, okay, let me just listen. I usually don't listen to people's stuff because I be so busy, right? But I'm like, let me just listen. So I pressed play and like 4 bars in, I couldn't stop smiling. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was like, this is not a girl that's rapping like this. This is unbelievable. It was so unbelievable to hear a female put words together like that. I actually called her, like, text her back on the Facebook, like, what is your phone number? I'm like, yo, I need to meet you in person just to make sure it was real because it seemed and then she came and we was locked in from then. And
I really love the ascension, like, watching her grow and seeing the reflection and how you've been, this true mentor and guide, because that is not something that's really happening anymore like it used to be. Someone who genuinely is carrying and supporting someone in their career while you still building yours. Why did you see that as something that was important for you to do?
Because I know how it is to be an extreme talent and not be heard. And I refuse to come across that and not do what I can do to contribute to, a person being heard. You know what I'm saying? So, when I came across her, I seen the potential that she had, even though, odds was against her being a female in this lane where it's completely male dominated, this underground lane. Yeah. And, it never really been, the way that she approached it is like completely different, you know what I'm saying? So, but I had enough faith from her talent skill that she would make an impact, you know? And I was willing to put my money up and did, you know? So.
And she's delivering. And on this painful track, she did just that too.
Yes,
As well as you and Free. So what was about this track that you said, yo, we about to do this. We gonna tap in Freeway and we about to give them pain.
Fact. So me and Shay, we laid our verses first. And then I was working with a homie of mine from out in the Bay. His name is Street Knowledge. He just passed. May he rest in peace. R.I.P. to my boy Street Knowledge. He was cool with Freeway. So when Street Knowledge flew up from the Bay to come to my crib, he had Freeway pull up to my crib. And Free just came, and unexpectedly, I played that beat, and then Free just hopped on it. You know, and that's how that record actually came together.
That's dope. So that now this particular record is one that I see is like, it's like, I'm not gonna say old school, but it's like you got a Freeway, we got you, then we got Shay. And it's like this wonderful mix of lyricists who really have these different eras, you know, that you're speaking on, you're rapping on, but it's still gel, like a perfect gumbo, okay? Like that's what it gave me, because you can hear the storyline, you can hear the transitions, and it really was something that I was delighted to hear. And that she stood toe to toe right with y'all. I was so happy.
She don't play. She do that every time. Yeah.
Yes, every time. So like, this is the song that we are pushing, and I know, you know, on the stations that I'm on, definitely about to run it up. But why do you feel like this track right here, we about to give them this pain?
Well, you know, man, I decided to run with that track as the first single, just because, like I said, the feeling that it gave. You know, it gave a painful feeling, but it gave something that I felt that people where I come from could relate to. You know,
Absolutely.
I felt like we were all speaking on different things, especially starting it off with Shay from the female perspective. It felt like a very relatable song.
It's definitely relatable. And there's one more track, and I forgot which one it was because I was vibing to it when I was shopping. You talk about hopping out the whip, your homeboy, and you were, I think somebody got shot, and you were sitting in like when they were doing the questioning and the interviewing. What song is that?
That's Can't Show Love Again.
That's Can't Show Love Again?
Part 2.
There you go. Yeah. Dang, I thought it maybe
that song is amazing.
I was engaged. I mean, you called these boys rats. What was the word you used for rats? It was so good. It was so good.
That was another record. I told him, I said, he been a snitch since a kid. You a rug rat.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. I said, oh my God. Can anybody understand this right here? Use a rug rat? Like, I'm using that. So just saw somebody paperwork. That's a rug rat, y'all. That's a rug rat. I'm like, you know, I'm from the hood, born and raised in it, but I ain't never been in that, right? But I've been around it, so I can understand, I can relate. And just hearing you speak on certain things, I was like, dang, like this man has really lived a life. And, you know, living that life has really allowed you now to live this life of being able to tell the story. And, you know, as we talk about life and how it's so precious, you talk about, you know, and it Can't Show Love, you know, the ability of making sure you put things in your body so that you can be here. But as a rapper, it's a dangerous job.
Completely.
You know, and, you know, we just lost PNB Rock, and everybody's creating their own theory of how and why. But, you know, when it comes to security and keeping your head on a swivel, like, I'm just me, and I keep my head on a swivel on a regular basis. But as a rapper, when you're on tour, people know where you are at all times. They know where you pulling up to. You got radio runs, interviews. You know, can you speak on the life of how, you know, one should really be mindful, because it is a dangerous job, and how you have to be conscious of that?
I think, you know, if you're from the streets, then you should be okay. Because if you survived in the streets, then you should know how to move.
Yes.
Right. That's the first thing. Like, if you ain't from the streets, then let me give you a couple tips. Don't make too many friends out here. That's where most problems start. Just like if you go to jail, people only gonna violate you when they feel comfortable with you. Ain't no need to make any friends out here. Second off, move accordingly. Don't get too caught up in imagery to where you have something to prove. That jewelry and shit will get you killed. And you got to keep that in mind. Like, people are starving out here and they'll kill you for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, just because it's a lot of rappers that don't put themselves in dangerous environments and shit. You know what I mean? It's a lot of rappers that's actually wealthy or rich that don't put themselves in those environments. You know what I'm saying? So it's already about how you move. You know what I'm saying? You can't be around a bunch of wolves, teasing them. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And that's just unhealthy for any profession, not just rap, anything.
Yep, absolutely. And I think you hit it right on the head of just the awareness of understanding your surroundings, which is definitely beyond important. And when it comes to your surroundings, you absolutely has been able to share about what you've been through, what you've gone through. And when I think about some of your most difficult moments, can you share one that you were able to pull through and how it motivated you to even go harder in what you're doing today?
Oh man, I got a bunch of them, man. Shoot, man, it's a long list of them. You know what I'm saying? But
one off the top.
Man. I would probably say being incarcerated as a juvenile. I was introduced to the judicial system at an early age, and it messed up my childhood. Like, my childhood was took away from me from the streets. And, I had to grow up real fast. So by the time I was out here, I had to become an adult very early. And, I used to always feel like I missed out on a lot of things, but it was a beautiful thing because it added a strong sense of responsibility that I see people who had embraced their childhood still living and still being childlike. You know what I'm saying? So, I used to like have regrets of actually missing out on my childhood or growing up too fast. But then I see how much of a reliable and responsible person that it have made me in comparison to the people who didn't. So, that's one thing I could think of.
I mean, that's perfect because it speaks to your music. It definitely, it speaks to your music, and it speaks to the fact that, like you said, you've been interning for 17 years. But through them years, you were able to maintain and take care of yourself while still pursuing your passion. And then,
that's a good point right there.
Hello. I mean, I don't do interviews for no reason, But no, in all seriousness, when you think about it, because when you said that hasn't left my head. Because like I said, I'm huge on internships. But when you use that correlation between your life and how you've matriculated through this music business and looking at it from that standpoint, and then becoming the businessman after those 17 years and putting your business acumen into play, it really speaks to you being able to say, I learned a few things, and, when I think about, look at your album, like you said, 5 shots, 6 shots, 7 shots, and 7 being that number. Why do you feel like this is that album that you are really riding on and believing is going to be that one for you when it comes to 7 shots?
It's just a timing thing, you know what I'm saying? It's all about timing. Like, I used to put out so much projects, but you can't rush this. It's really, it's when it's supposed to happen, and you're gonna know it. A lot of times you're gonna think you know it, but as it's happening and you can feel it, you're gonna know it. And the reason you're gonna know it is from the level of comfortability, because you're gonna feel like you're supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's just, so, that's why I say, like, this project is important for me, because all the stars is aligning. You know what I'm saying? It's just the timing of it.
Timing is everything. It definitely is. So when it comes to this project, I got Painful. We got, of course, Can't Show Love Part 2. What is one more track on this joint that you're just like, yo, everybody need to listen to?
The first track, Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is fire. It's produced by my homie Street Runner. Shout out to Street Runner. You know what I'm saying? He produced half a Khaled album. He the one did the God Did record that everybody going crazy over that whole verse. My boy Street Runner produced the Holy Spirit record, and I'm on there going crazy. Yes. I got some of the most amazing punchlines that you'll ever hear over some of the hardest production, and I think that y'all should go check that out. You know what I'm saying? And
you named it Holy Spirit. Why?
Because I'm saying a lot of church references in there and flipping it into street shit. Like, saying a person give me 10% off of every brick.
Tithe and officer. Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? Like, so I call it Holy Spirit. Also, it's a gospel sample in the beat. You know what I'm saying? The beat came from a gospel sample, a gospel song called Breathe on Me, actually. So, yeah, y'all make sure y'all check that out.
Holy Spirit it is. Well, listen, I'm not going to hold you because you're a busy man, but I appreciate you giving me your time. And like you said, timing is everything. This is my first time interviewing you, which I still think is wild, but it won't be the last time. And, every time you got a project, I want to talk about it. I want to break down your lyrics. I want us to have a discussion on what tracks you think is the go-tos and making sure that folks understand, because I'll tell you this, the beautiful thing that I love about interviews is when you're talking to an artist and you're listening to their music, you listen, but do you hear what they're saying? And so once you get a chance to talk to them, you get a chance to now go back and hear what they're saying after you done listen to the actual project, right? Because you may create your own interpretation one way, then once you really dive in, that's just me, right? Because I'll listen, I'll run through it, and I'm like, okay, what was that about? And really dive into the life, and being able to now speak with you, I'm gonna run back and listen to the album again and have a complete different perspective. What's your punchlines, right? And the lyrics you chose. So I just want to say I appreciate you, for being consistent and diligent in your work, and giving me a lesson on tonight about internships for 17 years. Right. You know what I mean? That's hard. And then, and just being you, someone from the area and truly getting into it and still doing what you do best. And so when it comes to getting into it, what can we expect next from you? Are you going to go on tour? What are we doing with 7 Shots?
So yeah, we're gonna be the tour gonna be starting in the next 90 days. You know what I mean? I'm be announcing dates and shit. And new music will be on the way, you know what I'm saying, in the next 90 days. I don't wanna announce nothing yet, but new music is coming. I'm gonna tell y'all that.
Okay, and tell the people how they can follow you, tap in with you. Of course, it's available on all streaming platforms, website, give me it all.
So listen, y'all make sure y'all go and get 7 Shots first off. 38 Spesh, 7 Shots is on all platforms. Then y'all make sure y'all follow me on all platforms. It's I Am Spesh. That's IAMSPESH. I Am Spesh.
Just that simple.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, listen, I appreciate you for tapping in with me, and definitely gonna have to have you come on back in the next 90 days.
Is it coming back?
So we can talk about this new project, talk about the tour, and making sure everybody know exactly where you're gonna be at and how to tap in with you. I appreciate you, and thank you for tapping in with the Go Getters, boo.
Let's go. Trust.
Well, listen, my go-getters, I really hope that you enjoyed this episode of the G Code with my guy, 38 Spesh. Don't forget to tap in with him, check out his music, and especially the EP 7 Shots. All right. Now, listen, if you like what you heard, you know what to do. Make sure you subscribe to my podcast, The G Code with me, ADRI.V The Go Getta. Tap in with me on all social platforms at ADRI.V The Go Getta. And of course, the show at The G Code with ADRI.V. And make sure you stay connected to us right here, of course, on Revolt Podcast Network. Listen, and as always, I thank you and love you so much for listening. And remember, there's no need for the cheat code when you got the G Code. Be sure to subscribe to the G Code podcast. Find it on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and all places a podcast lives. Want to catch up on the G Code podcast? Well, go to www.ADRI.VTheGoGetter.com and also subscribe on SoundCloud and YouTube. The G Code.
I was born in the G Code, embedded in my blood.
Matter of fact, you just triggered a level orange G Code security threat.